From translation, Net New English Translation. This 31 day of the year. Today we are reading passages Exodus 39 to 40. Exodus chapter 39, verses 1 to 85. The artisans made the priestly garments for Aaron. The ephod, the breastpiece, the robe, the woven tunic, the turban, and the sash. They made the ephod of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twisted linen. They beat the gold into thin sheets and cut it into threads to work into the blue, purple, scarlet, and fine linen, the work of a skilled craftsman. They made shoulder pieces for it, joined together at its two edges. The skillfully woven waistband of the ephod that was on it was like it, of one piece with the ephod, of gold, blue, purple, and scarlet, and fine twisted linen, as the Lord had commanded Moses. They set onyx stones in gold filigree settings, and engraved them like the engravings of a seal, with the names of the sons of Israel. He put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod as memorial stones for the sons of Israel, as the Lord had commanded Moses. He made the breastpiece, the work of a skilled craftsman, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine twisted linen. It was square. They made the breastpiece double, a span long and a span wide when folded double. They set in it 4 rows of stones, a row of carnelian, topaz, and emerald, the second row a turquoise, a sapphire, and a diamond, the third row a jacinth, an agate, and an amethyst, the fourth row a beryl, an onyx, and a jasper. They were set in gold filigree settings. The stones were engraved according to the names of the sons of Israel, 12, one for each name, like the engravings of a seal, each according to his name. They made for the breastpiece braided chains of pure gold, like a cord. They made 2 gold filigree settings and 2 gold rings, and attached the 2 rings to the 2 upper corners of the breastpiece. They attached the 2 gold chains to the 2 rings at the upper corners of the breastpiece. They attached the other 2 ends of the 2 chains to the 2 settings, and attached them to the shoulder pieces of the ephod at the front. They made 2 gold rings, and put them on the 2 lower corners of the breastpiece on the inner side of the ephod. They made 2 gold rings, and attached them to the bottom of the 2 shoulder pieces on the front of the ephod, at the seam just above the waistband of the ephod. They tied the breastpiece by its rings to the rings of the ephod with a blue cord, so that it would be on the waistband of the ephod, and so that the breastpiece would not be loose from the ephod, as the Lord had commanded Moses. They made the robe of the ephod completely of blue cloths, with an opening in the center of the robe, like the opening of a coat of armor, with a binding around the opening, so that it would not be torn. Along the hem of the robe they made pomegranates of blue, purple, and scarlet wool, twisted. They made bells of pure gold, and put the bells between the pomegranates all around the hem of the robe, between the pomegranates. A bell and a pomegranate all around the hem of the robe, for ministering, as the Lord had commanded Moses. They made for Aaron the tunic of fine linen cloth, the woven turban of fine linen, and the sash of fine twisted linen and blue, purple, and scarlet. They made the turban of fine linen, the headband of the turban being made of fine linen, the work of a skilled craftsman, and they set it on the turban with a blue cord. The gold plate was engraved with the words, "Holy to the Lord." They attached to the turban with a blue cord a gold plate, engraved with "Holy to the Lord" as Moses had instructed. They made the woven tunic of fine linen cloth, and the turban of fine linen, and the sash of fine twisted linen. The work of the priestly garments for ministering in the holy place was finished, as the Lord had commanded Moses. They made the sacred chest for the ark of the covenant of acacia wood. Its length was 2.5 cubits, its width 1.5 cubits, and its height 1.5 cubits. It was overlaid with pure gold, both inside and out, and it had a gold molding around it. They cast 4 gold rings for it, and attached them to its 4 feet. 2 rings were on one side of it, and 2 rings on the opposite side. They made poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with gold. They put the poles through the rings on the sides of the ark to carry the ark. They made the atonement cover of pure gold. Its length was 2.5 cubits, and its width 1.5 cubits. They made 2 cherubim of gold. They made them of hammered work at the 2 ends of the atonement cover, 1 cherub at one end, and 1 cherub at the other end. They made the cherubim from the atonement cover at its 2 ends. They made the table of acacia wood. Its length was 2 cubits, its width 1 cubit, and its height 1.5 cubits. They overlaid it with pure gold and made a gold molding around it. They made a rim of a handbreadth around it and a gold molding around its rim. They cast 4 gold rings for it and attached them to the 4 corners at its 4 feet. The rings were close to the rim, to hold the poles for carrying the table. They made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold, to carry the table. They made its plates, its ladles, its bowls, and its pitchers to pour out drink offerings, of pure gold. They made the pure gold lampstand, its base, its stem, its branches, its calyxes, and its blossoms were all made of hammered work. They made 7 lamps for it, and its snuffers and its firepans of pure gold. They made the altar of incense of acacia wood. Its length was 1 cubit and its width 1 cubit. It was square, and its height was 2 cubits. Its horns were made of one piece with it. They overlaid it with pure gold, its top, its sides around it, and its horns. They made for it a gold molding around it. They made 2 gold rings for it under its molding, at its 2 corners on its 2 opposite sides, to be holders for the poles to carry it. They made the poles of acacia wood and overlaid them with gold. They made the anointing oil of pure spices, as the Lord had commanded Moses. They made the pure fragrant incense, as the Lord had commanded Moses, from the spices, stacte, onycha, galbanum, and pure frankincense, in equal parts. He made the altar of burnt offering of acacia wood. Its length was 5 cubits and its width 5 cubits. It was square, and its height was 3 cubits. They made for it horns at its 4 corners, and its horns were made of one piece with it. And they overlaid it with bronze. They made all the bronze utensils for the altar, the pots, the shovels, the basins, the meat forks, and the firepans. They made a bronze grating for it beneath, under the rim all around it, extending halfway up. They cast 4 bronze rings for it, and attached them to the 4 corners at its 4 feet. They made the poles of acacia wood, and overlaid them with bronze. They put the poles through the rings on the sides of the altar to carry it. They made it hollow from boards. They made the bronze basin and its bronze stand from the bronze mirrors of the women who served at the entrance to the meeting tent. They made the court of the tabernacle. For the south side, hangings for the court of fine twisted linen, 100 cubits long, with their 20 pillars and their 20 bronze bases, and the hooks and bands for the pillars were silver. For the north side, 100 cubits, their pillars and their bases, 20 pillars and 20 bronze bases, the hooks and bands for the pillars were silver. For the west side, hangings, 50 cubits, their pillars and their bases, 10 pillars and 10 bronze bases, the hooks and bands for the pillars were silver. For the east side, 50 cubits. The hangings for one side of the gate were 15 cubits, with their 3 pillars and their 3 bronze bases. For the other side of the gate, hangings, 15 cubits, with their 3 pillars and their 3 bronze bases. For the gate to the court, a screen of 20 cubits, of blue, purple, scarlet, and fine linen, the work of an embroiderer, with 4 pillars and their 4 bronze bases. All the pegs for the tabernacle, for the court around it, and for the curtain of the gate were of bronze. These are the records of the tabernacle of the testimony, which were recorded at the command of Moses, by the responsibility of the Levites under the direction of Ithamar son of Aaron the priest. Now Bezalel, Oholiab, and every skilled person to whom the Lord had given skill and ability came, and did the work for the service of the sanctuary, just as the Lord had commanded. They received from Moses all the contribution that the Israelites had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary. They still brought him freewill offerings each morning. So all the artisans who were doing the work of the sanctuary came, from their work which they were doing, and told Moses, "The people are bringing much more than is needed for the work that the Lord commanded to be done." Moses gave the command, and they sent this proclamation throughout the camp: "Let no man or woman make anything else as an offering for the sanctuary." So the people stopped bringing. The materials that were left over from the service of the sanctuary, the Israelites brought to make use of. All the skilled women spun with their hands and brought what they had spun, blue, purple, scarlet, and fine linen. All the skilled women to whom the Lord had given skill spun the goat hair. The leaders brought onyx stones and other stones to be set for the ephod and for the breastpiece, and the spice and the oil for the light, for the anointing oil, and for the fragrant incense. The Israelites brought a freewill offering to the Lord, all the men and women whose hearts compelled them to bring materials for all the work that the Lord had commanded to be done by Moses. So the people were restrained from bringing more, for what they had was sufficient for all the work to be done. Exodus chapter 40, verses 1 to 38. The Lord spoke to Moses. Set up the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, on the first day of the first month. Place the ark of the covenant in it, and put the atonement cover on the ark of the covenant. Bring the table and set it in order, put the implements on it. Bring the lampstand and set up its lamps. Place the gold altar for incense in front of the ark of the covenant, and put the curtain for the entrance at the entrance of the tabernacle. Place the altar for burnt offering in front of the entrance of the tabernacle, the tent of meeting. Place the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar, and put water in it. Set up the court all around, and hang the curtain for the gate of the court. Then take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and everything in it. Consecrate it and all its furnishings, so that it will be holy. Anoint the altar for burnt offering and all its implements. Consecrate it so that it will be most holy. Anoint the basin and its stand and consecrate it. Bring Aaron and his sons to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and wash them with water. Then clothe Aaron with the sacred garments, anoint him, and consecrate him so that he can serve as my priest. Bring his sons and clothe them with tunics. Anoint them just as you anointed their father, so that they may serve me as priests. Their anointing will establish a permanent priesthood for them throughout their generations. Moses did everything just as the Lord commanded him. The tabernacle was set up on the first day of the first month in the second year. When Moses set up the tabernacle, he put the bases in place, erected the frames, placed the crossbars, set up the pillars, and spread the tent over the tabernacle. Moses put the covering over the tent as the Lord had commanded him. He took the testimony and put it in the ark, and he placed the poles on the ark and put the atonement cover on top of the ark. He brought the ark into the tabernacle and hung the curtain for the screen. He put the ark of the covenant in the Holy of Holies, as the Lord had commanded him. He placed the table in the tent of meeting, on the north side of the tabernacle, outside the curtain. He arranged the bread on it before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded him. He placed the lampstand in the tent of meeting, opposite the table on the south side of the tabernacle. He set up the lamps before the Lord, as the Lord had commanded him. He placed the gold altar in the tent of meeting in front of the curtain, and he offered sweet incense on it, as the Lord had commanded him. He placed the curtain at the entrance to the tabernacle. He placed the altar for burnt offering in front of the entrance of the tabernacle, the tent of meeting, and offered on it the burnt offering and the grain offering, just as the Lord had commanded him. He placed the basin between the tent of meeting and the altar, and put water in it for washing. Moses, Aaron, and his sons used it to wash their hands and their feet. They washed whenever they went into the tent of meeting, and whenever they approached the altar, just as the Lord had commanded Moses. He erected the court all around the tabernacle and the altar, and he hung the curtain for the gate of the court. So Moses finished the work. Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses could not enter the tent of meeting because the cloud had settled on it, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Now whenever the cloud was taken up from above the tabernacle, the Israelites would set out on all their journeys. But if the cloud was not taken up, then they did not set out until the day when it was taken up. For throughout all their journeys, the cloud of the Lord was on the tabernacle by day, and there was fire in the cloud by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys.